Hello everyone, my name is Brittany Manning. Today I'll be discussing stress. So according to the American Psychological Association, about half of Americans suffer from medium levels to high levels of stress every single day. And as the years go by, these numbers unfortunately keep increasing. So stress can be defined as something that causes strong feelings of worry and anxiety. So for today I'll be discussing the two types of stress, how you know if you are stressed, some ways to cope with stress, and then also ways to help hopefully prevent them. So the two types of stress include acute and chronic. Acute stress is something that comes on very suddenly, and it's usually from a specific event. Chronic stress is something that builds upon events upon events upon events, and it usually goes for a prolonged period of time. Not all stress is actually bad stress. Some short-term stress can actually cause good events or good responses. So if you become stressed suddenly, it may invoke you to create action or to follow through on something or to cause something to happen, which in turn will be a good effect. It's the chronic stress that usually causes problems. So some major causes of stress could be marriage, pregnancy, major life changes, for example, a new job or promotion, or even a new position within the company. Of course, the death of a loved one will definitely cause stress. Most people feel stress from work, or what I found personally is a feeling of not having control. So if you don't feel like you have control over your situation, of course, we as humans, we want to make sure our life is going how we want it to go. But unfortunately, this doesn't always happen. And when this doesn't happen, it causes high levels of stress, and in return, it causes our bodies to break down even more. So some of the effects of stress, of course, is a decrease in immunity. So according to the National Institute of Mental Health, your body's immunity actually drastically is lowered due to the body system not working properly. And so when we're under high levels of stress, stress causes a lot of bad habits to break out. For example, bad eating habits. How many of us are guilty of eating, ice cream or cookies or guilty foods that make us feel so good? But it's actually only making the situation even worse. Because if we have high levels of chronic stress for a long, prolonged period of time, it actually causes our bodies to function drastically lower than they should be. So if we're eating unhealthy and we're not getting enough sleep, because many people don't get enough sleep when they're feeling stressed, it really just ultimately breaks down our bodies even more. We gain weight, our mental status is actually not able, our brain is not able to function properly because it's not getting the proper nutrition. So most of all, stress actually is a bad thing if it's not controlled properly and we don't cope with it properly. And everyone responds differently to stress. Some people get migraine headaches, other people may feel sleepy. So some ways to help prevent or cope stress is recognizing how your body is affected by it. So for me, for example, if I know if I'm under high levels of stress, I tend to not sleep very well or get high levels of a headache or frequent headaches and migraines. So we need to keep in touch with people that are our support system. So if we keep in touch with our support system, they'll be there to help us and to guide us through this process. And one thing that I've learned personally is if I don't talk out the things that are bothering me, actually build them up, it actually creates even more stress. Because I find that I rehearse these situations and these scenarios over and over and over again in my mind. And then also, what I also find works really good for myself is if you take small amounts of time per day to have to yourself, whether it be in the morning, whether it be during your lunch break at work. If you just find a moment or two to just calm yourself down and relax, it actually makes the day go by a little bit better, and it gives you a little bit of a breather. And I know something really big about stress is that it actually got me to be extremely ill. I was so stressed out with work and school and everything like that at the time, I actually became very, very ill, and I was in the hospital for 5 or 6 days. I think I released on the 6th day, rather. So it actually had a really negative effect on my body. So from there moving forward, I actually tried to learn how to cope with my stress a lot better. And one thing that actually helped me was exercising. I tend to, I don't necessarily always do it every day, but if I feel really, really stressed out, I try to at least go for a walk. If I can't go for a walk, I may go for a drive or do something that clears my mind. And the thing that I find that is most important is if you just take a moment and just get a breather and gather yourself, it'll help you move forward even better. So with that being said, stress isn't necessarily always a bad thing, but as long as we know how to cope with it properly and we have a good support system all around it, we'll be able to have our bodies properly functioning and not have them break down and to do bad things. So thank you.